Today in crypto. JP Morgan's analysts say that the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, approving a Bitcoin exchange-traded fund, ETF, is likely negative for Bitcoin in the near term. There is optimism around the prospect of the SEC approving a Bitcoin ETF under new leadership. The analysts say SEC approving Bitcoin ETF could be negative. JP Morgan published a report on Friday that discusses the impact of an SEC-approved Bitcoin ETF on the Bitcoin market. Optimism around the prospect of the SEC approving a Bitcoin ETF in the U.S. this year has risen in anticipation of SEC leadership changes, the analysts wrote, stating, "The approval of a Bitcoin ETF in the U.S. this year would likely be negative for Bitcoin in the near term." The analysts, including strategist Nikolaus Panigertsagla, proceeded to explain why they are forecasting a negative outlook. The reason is a potential decline in the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust, GBTC, premium to NAV, net asset value, from the introduction of Bitcoin ETF in the U.S., which would unwind a big portion of GBTC investments currently placed for monetizing this premium. They elaborated that some institutional investors likely subscribed to GBTC, at NAV, during the second half of last year with the intention of selling after the 6 meters unlock period. As the 6 meters unlocked period expires, some of these institutional investors might sell GBTC during the first half of 2021 to monetize the premium. If it materializes, this selling pressure would put downward pressure on GBTC premiums, emphasizing that a Bitcoin ETF would provide an alternative investment vehicle to GBTC for institutional investors. The JP Morgan analysts concluded, a cascade of GBTC outflows and a collapse of its premium would likely have negative near-term implications for Bitcoin given the flow and signaling importance of GBTC. Nonetheless, JP Morgan's analysts admitted in their report that the approval of a Bitcoin ETF in the U.S. would be positive for Bitcoin over the long term. Many people on Twitter disagree with the assessment by JP Morgan's analysts that an SEC-approved Bitcoin ETF would be negative for the industry at all. Vonex Director of Digital Assets Strategy, Gabor Gurbax, tweeted that institutions want a Bitcoin ETF. His company recently filed a proposal with the SEC for a Bitcoin ETF. Gurbax opined, "I believe that a Bitcoin ETF may bring many structural benefits to the Bitcoin as well as traditional financial markets." Hit the like button and subscribe to the channel.